Yeah, that's what he'd be looking at. He's just got to go for broke now, really. I mean, championship hopes are pretty much gone. But now he's just got to try and finish off the round strongly for DJR. But it's been a tremendous battle. It's amazing how things can turn around. He's won the most races. He's led the most laps. He's won 2 rounds of the championship. And in one corner, his championship chase has virtually come unstitched.
Yeah, it's gone pear-shaped, hasn't it? Alex Davison in his debut in V8 Supercar racing. Looking forward to seeing him in action at the upcoming Sandown 500 and Bathurst. Luke Youlden, there he is, and Andrew Jones. The rear of the pack and the last man, really, after some problems for Jay Verdnick's machine in that opening race. Greg Ritter with all the work to do. Kelly gets a terrific start in this second race. Howard will slot in behind him. I think that's Wayne Wakefield in third position in the Greenfield Mowers entry. They're all riding the curbs, trying to gain maximum advantage here. McLean was one of them, so was Tony D'Alberto, who's had a real share of electrical gremlins in that Wins Commodore. They think they may have found it, though, Mark, hopefully for these next 2 races. Someone off in the dirt there.
Garth Tander joining us in commentary again. Garth, those first 2 or 3 corners at Mallala, it's almost like a funnel. You're trying to put too many cars through a narrow bit of track.
Well, that's exactly right. It is a funnel, and there's always contact into there, and all you want to do is minimise the damage and survive and come out the other side. Now, Owen Kelly's got a fantastic start. His championship contenders are at the back of the grid having to come through the field, so this is his real opportunity to score some big points back on them.
Dunlop did a terrific job, actually, to salvage one of Owen's tyres in qualifying. Here we go, the championship. Look at that. Youlden has been caught behind somebody on the run down into the hairpin, and that's possibly a crucial move in this title, Mark. Andrew Jones gets the advantage. Matthew White in between them now.
Isn't that interesting, this tyre strategy? Oh, and Kelly. Car 71. It's amazing how weekends start off badly and they just get worse and worse and worse. I don't know why he's come off with a hairpin. Let's have a look at the replay, Garth.
Well, he's just locked a brake up. He's got no one in front of him, no one behind him, and gone in very deep and locked up. And unsure as to why you'd be pushing that hard. He'd already, after a lap and a half, established a comfortable lead.
I wonder if there's a problem there, maybe. Well, what would have caused that, I wonder?
You'd have to wonder, because there was no need to be pushing that hard.
Lee Holdsworth, 21-year-old, race winner in the Konica Minolta Series this year. A strong finishing performance at Mallala. You can just see what a schmozzle it is out there. You've got the slower cars at the front, the fast ones coming through. And we just saw an example of maybe Andrew Jones' tyre strategy paying off here. He's got his best set of tyres on for this reverse grid race, and he's trying to make up as many positions as he can to get a good starting position for the final.
Dramas there for Grant Elliott, who coming into this round was in the top 10 in the championship. He's had a pretty consistent year, Mark, always banking a decent haul of points. Dean Wanless off as well.
Look at the traffic jams out there.
This really is the make or break race for this weekend as far as the championship goes. Survive the reverse grid race and get a good result and you're looking good. But as you can see, surviving it's easier said than done.
Pick up the end of this action, Garth. Well, by the time we picked it up, there's already 3 or 4 cars spearing off.
Yeah, that's right. And very, very difficult to attest blame to anyone because the shot just picked it up a little too late.
Watching Lee Holdsworth in action there, the car jumping around. I wonder if he's maybe compression locked up there, Garth, on the way into that turn. Andrew Jones is seized on the moment.
Yeah, well, Holdsworth looked as though he was having a moment there and really got his entry wrong, and then that compromised his exit speed. And we see Andrew there, who has been very strong on power down all weekend, just pick him off quite easily.
Well, he's in front of Luke Youlden. You can see the Super Cheap Autos car there, just 2 cars behind him. The man in the middle is Greg Ritter, pole position winner and winner of race 1. So there's 3 cars there, very, very quick in the middle of the pack, and this calls on a great amount of skill, patience, and a real balance of aggression, because while it's important to pick up positions, you can't afford to crunch the car in this race too.
Speaking with Kim Jones prior to this race, dramas there for Tony Evangelou in the Dexion 4. They've done some good testing, that team at Winton, hoping to iron out some dramas with that car, but they flat spotted one of their tyres in the build-up to the weekend, and that's hurt him from the bank of rubber point of view. But Kim Jones was saying that Andy lost a bit of time in that qualifying session. They found a manufacturing fault of some kind in the water pump, the impeller, and spent a bit of time on the sidelines. So Andy's got some good tyres for this one and making the most of them as we ride with Lee Holdsworth now in the Smiths Trucks Commodore. Back to Andrew Jones, Team BOC4. That's Alex Davison ahead of him. And I think Cameron McLean. Oh, those two are got the boxing gloves on, don't they, Mark?
Yeah, there's just so much biff and bash in this reverse grid race. Andrew's trying to sneak down the inside cleanly. McLean knows he's there, gives him room.
Nice work, Andy.
Alex Davison goes with him.
Yeah, good move by Andrew Jones, and what he'll be trying to do is put as many cars as he can between himself and Luke Youlden to really maximise the points difference, because there's only small increments of points difference between positions on the track. So as many cars as he can get between him, the better it looks for the championship.
Big move under brakes from McLean, and you could see the bend in the bonnet, a touch with Davison, and the man who's dominated the Carrera Cup this season goes around.
Driving the team's VX Commodore. This was driven by Tony Longhurst in the Level 1 Series this year. And now it's getting some training duties in the Konica Minolta Series. Well, pretty straightforward touch there.
Yeah, that took place for over the course of about half a lap. These two were into each other, and looks like small contact in the rear was just enough to unsettle Alex's car.
Ever a man who earned the title of Mr. Consistency, it's got to be Mark Porter, the Kiwi. The Hydrolink Commodore. He's just continuing to bank points together. He could be looking pretty good for a podium spot in terms of overall championship positions at the end of this very hectic day of racing.
Kurt Wimmer in the Holden Young Lions Commodore on the road ahead of him. They had a disrupted test at Winton recently. Only got a handful of laps in the rain, but both boys felt it was at least good to do some miles in the wet conditions. Porter is endeavouring to put as many points in the pocket as possible here. Back with Lee Holdsworth, and the man chasing him is Alan Gurr in the second of the Young Lions entries. Alan will hook up with Paul Morris for the Enduros in the Cirame Commodore. Andrew Jones now looking for a move on Gurr, and does it. In fact, that's Wimmer, I should say.
Tell you what, this strategy's working pretty well so far. The car's obviously got very good grip, got great drive out of the slow corners, and he's got tremendous car speed. He's picking them off one after the other. He's going to climb himself pretty much into a top 5 position by the end of this race if he continues this momentum.
Still a risky strategy when you look at the next race being 28 laps around Mallala, and now he would have used two sets of tyres, and he's got to make up the best of a bad bunch for the longest race of the afternoon. So although he's going to get good reward here, we have to see what the overall, how it's going to pan out for the day and in turn for the championship.
Yeah, the gamble is the points gain, I guess, in this race, isn't it? McLean is ahead of Ritter here, and behind them is Luke Youlden, so it's the difference in points terms.
Must have a lot of confidence in the chassis of the Brad Jones racing car too, that's going to look after the best set of tyres that he's got left in that longer final race. Here comes McLean into the pits.
I think he'd be just visiting the guys in pit lane for his indiscretion with Alex Davison, I would have thought.
Could be a drive-through penalty, because that one was pretty straight up and down. Here's Greg Ritter. This man will join Marcus Ambrose in the Sandown 500 and Bathurst 1000 later this year. One of the top level 1 drives, so there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. It's a good chance to get out, get himself right back into the groove before those drives come around.
Should make the point too, as Wayne Wakefield leads this reverse grid race, that although this is the last round of the championship, there is the non-championship race coming up at Mount Panorama, and that's always a good one, Mark. It's on the Saturday, and it gives a number of guys a chance to really get their eye in around the mountain, doesn't it?
Sure does, and a lot of level 1 teams have used that to their advantage in previous years. Has caused a bit of angst amongst other teams who haven't had co-drivers perhaps ended in the non-championship race on Saturday, but it's certainly been a big boost for the guys who have been in it.
Tony D'Alberto and Alex Davison, they think the electrical gremlin in D'Alberto's car is a crank sensor, so hopefully they've cured that. Boy, it's really plagued him in qualifying terms. Jose Fernandez, another one who's had a fairly consistent start to the day and on course to bank some good points, Mark, in his title bid for the Dick Johnson team. Second of the Fujitsu entries, teammate to Kelly.
Tell you what, if he plays his cards right, he could finish as good as Owen, or maybe even in front of him. We'll just see how that shakes out after the final race comes through. But that bad result in race 1 has really hurt Owen Kelly here this afternoon.
What's the transition like, Garth, as far as Alex Davison's concerned? We've seen him do such a good job at the wheel of those left-hand drive Carrera Cup cars all year. Aaron McGill goes round in the third of the entries from the Howard Racing stable, but making the transition to a supercar is a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
Well, I could imagine it'd be a massive transition, because from one point of view, you're sitting on the other side of the car, but then the engine's in the wrong end of the car as well. So as big a transition as you could make, I would have thought. But this would be very good experience for Alex, because it's all well and good going testing and doing plenty of laps, but whenever you test, you only do a 4 or 5 lap run. You don't do a 20 lap run or a 30 lap run. And you don't get to experience what the brake performance difference is like as the tyres go off and as the power down difference changes, the tyres go away as well. So invaluable driving experience this weekend for Alex.
Wow, Mark Porter really applying the pressure here to Wayne Wakefield, who's leading the reverse grid race in the Greenfield Mowers Falcon.
Look at Andrew Jones. He's climbed his way back. to third place in this reverse grid race. He's shown enormous speed, and even though he's got a couple of dents on the car, it's still in good running condition. That's what you've got to do in these reverse grid races.
Wakefield will take it out. Fantastic second race, and Mark Porter continues his bid to improve in the championship table.
Porsches round 7 at Sandown, testing the skill in the wet.